what if I told you that some of the evidence that you're planning to submit for your asylum case could actually hurt your chances of winning? When I was an asylum officer with the government, I saw this happen more times than I can count, where documents that someone thinks are the key to proving their case end up harming it or even lead to a denial. And I continue to see this now as an asylum lawyer when clients come to us after having already submitted evidence that they thought was helpful, but which can have the opposite effect. I'm going to tell you how to avoid the problem of damaging evidence in your asylum case, and we're starting right now. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Let me know in the comments if you've got an asylum case pending, or maybe you're considering applying. And listen, I'd especially like to hear from you. If you've been waiting for an asylum interview with USCIS for multiple years, let me know in the comments how long you've been waiting. All right, let me tell you about Jasmine. She came to my law firm devastated after her asylum case had been referred by USCIS over to the immigration court. Now, her previous lawyer had insisted that submitting nearly 1,000 pages of documents would help prove her case. So she had country reports, news articles, letters from friends, screenshots of messages, and social media comments. Everything you could imagine. Now, her prior lawyer thought that more evidence meant a stronger case. But here's what really happened. The most important evidence, the documents that actually proved that she'd been persecuted, well, they got lost in the shuffle. The asylum officer couldn't find key documents that would have helped Jasmine win her case. And so after this denial, Jasmine faced deportation proceedings in immigration court. That's when she found my law firm, and we completely reorganized her evidence, focusing only on the most powerful documents that proved her eligibility for asylum. And with this more strategic approach, well, we were able to win her case in immigration court, ensuring that she could stay safe and stay here in the United States. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid Jasmine's mistake and others like it. We'll cover 3 major ways that evidence can actually harm your asylum case. And I'll show you exactly how to present your evidence in a way that helps you win asylum. All right, let's start with what I call the volume trap. This was the problem Jasmine had with her prior attorney. It's when asylum applicants submit so much evidence that the officer can't possibly review it all, or at least not carefully. I can't stress this enough. Asylum officers are overwhelmed. They typically get to your file just maybe a couple weeks before your interview, if even that early, and they have many other cases to prepare for. If you submit 1,300 pages of evidence and other supporting documentation, well, the officer simply won't focus on it all. And they may miss the important documents that actually help prove your case. By the way, if you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss the insights that I share on this channel. Okay, so what's the solution to the volume trap? Well, try to keep your evidence submission under 30 pages total. Now, I'm talking right now about evidence that's specific to you and your own circumstances, not about country conditions information. Combined with relevant country conditions information, this whole filing should be not more than about 200 pages, ideally. So listen, focus on quality over quantity. Pick the documents that most directly prove the key elements of your case. You've been persecuted and fear persecution in the future, and that it's happening because of one of the 5 protected characteristics under US asylum law. So don't include 30 pages worth of photographs of basically the same thing, and 15 witness letters all saying more or less the same thing, and 30 pages of reproductions of every text message that you've ever sent that you think might in some way be relevant to your case. No, you gotta be more discerning. That takes us to the second major problem that I see with evidence, which is relevance. People often submit evidence that doesn't actually help prove their asylum claim because it's just not on point. When I was an asylum officer, I once had an applicant submit 20 letters from friends in the United States talking about what a great person he was. But you see, character reference letters don't help prove that someone faces persecution in their country. It's just not relevant. Or here's another example. People often submit entire country reports, sometimes hundreds of pages long, without even highlighting the specific parts that are relevant to their case. I can tell you from experience, asylum officers will not read the whole report trying to figure out which parts might matter to your case. Instead, you should only submit portions of country reports that directly relate to your situation. For example, if you're seeking asylum based on religious persecution, well, only include the sections about religious freedom in your country. And please highlight the specific sentences that matter to your case, and better still, have your attorney discuss the most important parts in a legal brief that they'll submit as part of this filing. Okay, the third major problem, and this is probably the most serious, well, it concerns inconsistencies. We're talking about when the evidence that you submit has contradictions in it, or maybe it contradicts other parts of your case. I've seen so many cases denied because of these kinds of contradictions. Remember, asylum officers are trained to look for inconsistencies. They view them as signs that someone might not be telling the truth. And if the officer thinks that you're not credible, well, you won't get asylum. So here's what to do. Before you submit any evidence, review it carefully. Make sure all the dates, names, and details match what you've said in your asylum application and written statement. Don't submit documents that are inaccurate. And if you do realize that there are inconsistencies, well, you gotta be ready to try to explain this at your asylum interview. You also need to essentially memorize all of your written materials, including evidence, to help you testify consistently with it on the day of your asylum interview. Now, let me share with you the solution to these evidence problems. It's what I call the strategic evidence approach. Now, here's exactly how to do it. First, create an index that lists every piece of evidence that you're submitting, and the index should explain in one sentence why each document is important and how it's relevant to your case. Second, organize your supporting documents into clear categories. So, personal documents, medical records, police reports, photographs, and country conditions information, for example. Put the stuff that's specific to you first, and then put the country conditions information last. Okay, third, highlight the relevant portions of each document, like we mentioned earlier. Don't make the officer hunt for the important information. Now, fourth, number all of the pages sequentially and refer to specific page numbers in your written statement when you're talking about evidence that supports what you're saying. You're effectively citing to the record, but you don't need to worry about using special formal language or anything like that. You can just say, see page 14 of my supporting documents, a witness letter from my brother, for example. Listen, if you have a lawyer, they should do this for you in their legal brief. If they do it in their brief, then you don't need to do so in your declaration. This approach makes it easy for the officer to find and understand your evidence. It makes it usable. All right, remember, the goal isn't to overwhelm the officer with documents. The goal is to present clear, convincing evidence that proves that you qualify for asylum. Quality beats quantity every time. If you're ready to take the next step and get help with your asylum case, then call my office today. That number is 713-909-0401. And remember, we help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you live. Call us right now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning. It is truly an honor to serve you in your asylum journey.